Hey there, folks. This is Old Man Weather with Sky Alert USA. If you want to stay ahead of the storm and keep your loved ones safe, make sure you follow Sky Alert USA for this and future updates. We really appreciate your support, so please go ahead and subscribe, give us a like, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks a lot, and let's get started. All right, listen up. Urgent weather alert for December 23rd, 2025, covering the USA and Canada. Breaking news. We've got some major weather events unfolding across North America right now. Good morning and welcome to Sky Alert USA, your trusted source for critical weather updates across the United States and Canada. Today, December 23rd, 2025, we are tracking multiple significant weather events that will impact millions of Americans and Canadians throughout the Christmas holiday period. From a dangerous atmospheric river slamming California to winter storms across the Northeast and record-breaking warm temperatures in the central United States, this is shaping up to be one of the most complex and hazardous weather weeks of the season. Now, here's a critical alert. California's facing a high risk of flooding from a major atmospheric river. The so-called Pineapple Express has arrived. As I speak to you this morning, a powerful atmospheric river system, nicknamed the Pineapple Express due to its Hawaiian origins, is making landfall across California. This is not just another winter storm. The National Weather Service has taken the extraordinary step of issuing a Level 4 of 4 high-risk excessive rainfall warning for parts of Southern California, affecting over 5 million people in mountainous areas of Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Santa Barbara counties. To put this in perspective, high-risk flooding events are issued on fewer than 4% of days per year. Yet they account for more than 80% of all flood-related damage and 36% of all flood-related deaths. This is a life-threatening situation that requires immediate attention from anyone in the affected areas. Let's talk about the current situation and what's ahead. The atmospheric river began impacting Northern California over the weekend, and tragically we can confirm at least one fatality in Redding due to severe flooding. Streets became rivers, vehicles were trapped, and emergency water rescues were conducted throughout Sunday and Monday. The mayor of Redding, Mike Littau, confirmed that police and fire crews worked tirelessly to rescue residents from rising floodwaters. Now, this second and more powerful atmospheric river is shifting southward, with the heaviest rain expected today through Christmas Eve. Here's what communities across California can expect. Tuesday, December 23rd, today. Light to moderate rain begins across coastal Southern California this afternoon, with rain intensity increasing significantly tonight into Wednesday morning. Northern California continues to experience flooding concerns with additional rounds of heavy precipitation. Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. This is the peak of the storm for Southern California. Torrential rainfall with rates potentially exceeding 1 inch per hour, highest risk period for flash flooding, mudslides, and debris flows. Thunderstorms are likely due to unstable atmospheric conditions, and travel disruptions are expected to be severe. Thursday, December 25th, Christmas Day. Lighter but persistent shower continue, additional rainfall accumulations possible, and lingering flooding concerns, especially in areas with saturated soil. So, please everyone, stay safe, stay informed, and keep tuning in for more updates. The projected rainfall totals are, well, staggering and potentially historic for some locations. For the Los Angeles Basin, we're looking at 4 to 8 inches of rain through Saturday. The southwest-facing hillsides of the transverse ranges could get 6 to 12 inches, and there's even an AccuWeather local storm max of 16 inches. Over in the Sacramento Valley and San Francisco Bay Area, totals are expected to be around 2 to 4 inches, with some spots getting even more. The coast ranges and the west-facing slopes of the Sierra Nevada could see anywhere from 4 to 12 inches. Even the desert areas of southeastern California, which are usually pretty dry, might get a 1/4 to 1 inch of rain. And that's actually significant for those typically arid regions. To put all this in perspective, downtown Los Angeles usually gets about 2.48 inches of rain for the entire month of December. This single storm system could deliver 2 to 4 times that amount in just a few days. Some areas might even see up to 6 months' worth of rain in just 1 week. One of the most dangerous aspects of this storm is its impact on recent wildfire burn areas. The Palisades Fire and Eaton Fire burn scars are particularly vulnerable to catastrophic debris flows and mudslides. Here's why this is so concerning. When wildfires burn through an area, they destroy the vegetation that normally holds the soil in place. The intense heat also creates a water-repellent layer in the soil. When heavy rain falls on these burned areas, water just can't be absorbed effectively, leading to rapid runoff. This creates the perfect conditions for devastating mudslides and debris flows that can move with incredible speed and destructive force. Now, about evacuation orders and warnings. Evacuation warnings went into effect at 11 a.m. today for the Palisades fire burn scar. Residents in Malibu and the surrounding communities are preparing for potential road closures. Folks in the Eaton fire burn zone are being urged to prepare immediately. Sandbag distribution sites have been set up throughout the affected areas. Residents like Mula Ang, who lost his home in the Eaton fire and is now living in an RV on his property, are working around the clock to protect what remains. This storm is happening during one of the busiest travel periods of the year. A estimates that over 10 million people will be traveling through Southern California during the holiday period, which is a 2% increase from last year. The timing, honestly, could not be worse. Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, is expecting significant delays throughout the peak of the storm. Forecasters are warning about reduced visibility, potential wind shear, and flooding on airport access roads. If you're flying through California this week, you should expect delays and build some extra time into your schedule. Major highways will be especially hazardous. Interstate 5 and Highway 101 are going to see dangerous driving conditions during the peak of the storm. Flooding on roadways and in low-lying areas is expected. Mudslides and rockslides are likely in mountain areas, and coastal highways may experience wave action and flooding as well. All right, folks, if you're in California, especially down in Southern California, here's what you need to do right now. First off, sign up for local emergency alerts immediately. Don't wait. Make sure you've got an evacuation plan ready, especially if you live near any recent burn scars. Stock up on emergency supplies, water, non-perishable food, flashlights, batteries, and a first aid kit. Go ahead and charge all your electronic devices while you can. If you're in a flood-prone area, move your vehicles to higher ground. And if it's safe, clear out storm drains near your property. Avoid any unnecessary travel during the peak of the storm on Wednesday. Never, ever drive through flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. And, well, stay informed through official weather channels and your local emergency management. Stay safe out there. So, while California is dealing with all that flooding rain, the Northeast is facing its own set of weather challenges. This Tuesday morning, a winter weather system is moving through areas from eastern Pennsylvania all the way up through New England, bringing a messy mix of snow, sleet and rain, right in the middle of the busy holiday travel period. Winter weather advisories are in effect for Sullivan, Ulster, Orange, Putnam, Westchester, Rockland, Fairfield, Sussex, Passaic and Bergen counties. It's a first alert weather day, mainly because of travel impacts. We're expecting accumulating snow before it changes over to rain in a lot of spots. Northwestern zones could see 2 to 4 inches of snow, while most of the region will get a coating to 2 inches. Coastal areas, though, will mostly see rain, with little to no snow sticking around. This all started late Monday night and will keep going into Tuesday afternoon. As warmer air moves in, snow will change to rain. But during that transition, travel is going to be especially hazardous. The Tuesday morning commute is likely to be a mess, with delays across the region. But folks, Tuesday's snow is really just an appetizer. Meteorologists are keeping a close eye on a much bigger storm system that could hit the entire Northeast from Friday night into Saturday, December 27th through the 28th. The early forecast calls for snow starting up Friday evening and continuing through Saturday morning. New York City could see over 4 inches of snow, and spots north and west of the big cities could get even more. The exact totals will depend on where the rain-snow line sets up. This storm could seriously affect post-Christmas travel, especially for folks heading home after the holiday. The Friday evening commute could be downright treacherous, and Saturday morning won't be much better. Now, for those up in northern New England, a white Christmas is pretty much guaranteed this year. The current snow cover and the forecast both point to Maine having a picture-perfect white Christmas. In Bangor, Maine, there's already 8 inches on the ground, and it looks to stay dry but bitterly cold, with highs only in the 10 to 15 degree range and morning lows dipping below zero. Historically, there's a 75% chance of a white Christmas there, but this year it's 100%. Up in Caribou, Maine, they've got 13 inches of snow on the ground, and it's going to be dry and extremely cold. Highs in the single digits and morning lows well below zero. Their historical chance of a white Christmas is 92%, but again, this year it's a sure thing. The extreme cold up there is dangerous, with wind chills dropping to 20 to 30 degrees below zero. Anybody travelling to or through northern New England needs to be prepared for these life-threatening conditions. Now, in stark contrast to the cold gripping northern New England and the storms pounding both coasts, a good chunk of the central United States is looking at what could be one of the warmest Christmas holidays on record. A strong ridge of high pressure is building up over the region, bringing temperatures that are 15 degrees or more above what's normal for this time of year. In the Central Plains, we're talking about temperatures running at least 15 degrees above normal. The Midwest is getting spring-like conditions, while the Gulf Coast is mild, though actually a bit below the usual late December averages in some areas. Down in the southeast, temperatures are above average with lower precipitation than you'd typically expect. These warm conditions are a pretty dramatic shift from the colder pattern we saw earlier in December. And, believe it or not, the same weather pattern that's pushing those atmospheric rivers into California is also responsible for the warmth in the central states. Now, while a lot of folks might be happy about a warmer than normal Christmas, there are some important things to consider. Lower heating bills are a plus for most central and eastern states, but ski resorts outside the big mountain ranges are really struggling with low snowpack. There are also ecological impacts. Premature plant budding could get damaged when the cold snaps back. And, of course, this is all part of a broader trend of winter warming we've been seeing in recent decades. All right, folks, here's your Canada weather update. We're seeing highly variable conditions across the country this holiday season, with temperatures and precipitation, varying dramatically from coast to coast. Over in Ontario and eastern Canada, Toronto's sitting around 5 degrees Celsius today. That's Tuesday, with about a 40% chance of flurries this evening. Those will probably transition to rain near Lake Ontario tonight. Christmas Eve looks to bring a high of 1 degree, mostly cloudy. And for Christmas Day, a high of 2 degrees, still cloudy out there. Now, Boxing Day could get dicey, with potential for freezing rain or just plain rain, making for some hazardous conditions. Out west, British Columbia continues with that wet pattern. Atmospheric river impacts, much like what we're seeing in the US Pacific Northwest. The prairies get some early week sunshine, but that'll shift to flurries later on. Alberta, you're colder than usual with periodic snow in the mix. Overall, it's warmer than average for late December in a lot of regions. Today's forecast temperature of 4 degrees Celsius is actually a good bit warmer than the typical 0.2 degrees for December 22nd. Precipitation's all over the map, with both rain and snow depending on where you are. Now, let's talk about travel impacts across North America. The Transportation Security Administration is gearing up for what could be its busiest end-of-year travel season on record. Between December 19th, 2025 and January 4th, 2026, the TSA expects to screen 44.3 million passengers at airport checkpoints nationwide. The peak travel days? Sunday, December 28th, is projected to set a record with 2.86 million travellers, and Friday, December 26th, is also expected to be extremely busy. On the roads, December 23rd and 26th will see peak congestion. The folks at AAA are forecasting record numbers on the highways this season, with the worst of it on the weekend before Christmas and the day after. Weather-related delays are likely in several regions, so let's break down the recommendations. California travellers, try to avoid travel on Wednesday if you can. If you must go, leave early in the morning before storms ramp up, keep an eye on local conditions in real time, have emergency supplies in your vehicle, and never ever attempt to drive through flooded areas. For the Northeast, Tuesday morning will be slick. Give yourself extra time, and for Friday through Saturday, monitor the forecast closely as a major storm is possible. Always keep an emergency kit in your vehicle, including a blanket, food, water, and a flashlight. Central States travellers, conditions look generally favourable, but watch out for fog in that warmer, moist air. Crowds will probably be your biggest challenge, not the weather. For Canadian travellers, conditions are all over the place, so check your local forecasts. There's a freezing rain threat on Boxing Day in parts of Ontario, and mountain passes in British Columbia could be hazardous. Time for your 3-day detailed forecast. For Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, today on the West Coast, California's seeing that atmospheric river intensify, with rain spreading south. The Pacific Northwest stays wet. with continued rain and mountain snow. Temperatures are in the 40s to 50s along the coast, 30s in the mountains. Central USA, you're staying warm and dry, with temperatures 15 degrees or more above normal, and skies mostly clear to partly cloudy. In the northeast, snow changes to rain in many spots during the morning, then rain ends and clouds decrease by afternoon. Temperatures hang in the 30s to 40s. Down in the southeast, it's mild and dry, with temps in the 60s to 70s. Up in Canada, Ontario sees flurries changing to rain near the lakes. The prairies start sunny and turn cloudy, and British Columbia just keeps up the wet weather. Moving on to Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. The west coast hits the peak of the storm, with torrential rain and a high flooding risk in California. Thunderstorms are likely, and it's life-threatening in burn-scar areas. Temperatures will be in the 50s to 60s at lower elevations. Central USA stays warm and pleasant, with light winds and above normal temperatures. The northeast is mostly cloudy, with quiet weather between systems and temperatures near to slightly below normal. In the southeast, it's partly cloudy and warm, with just a few isolated showers possible. Across Canada, Ontario stays cloudy and near freezing. Widespread cloudiness covers much of the country, and British Columbia sees more rain. For Thursday, December 25th, Christmas Day, the west coast continues with rain, though it's less intense than Wednesday. Coastal areas get lighter showers, but mountains could see heavy snow at higher elevations as temperatures drop, so flooding concerns remain. Central USA enjoys a warm Christmas, with temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above normal and generally dry conditions. The northeast stays cloudy but mostly dry, with near normal temperatures. The southeast has a mild Christmas Day, partly cloudy and comfortable. In Canada, Ontario is cloudy with a temperature around 2 degrees Celsius. It's a quiet Christmas Day for most of the country, and British Columbia has some lingering showers. Well, here's your winter sports outlook. There's actually some good news for the Sierra Nevada. Dramatic improvement is coming. One positive note from this California atmospheric river is the significant snow that'll fall in the Sierra Nevada at those higher elevations. Ski resorts that have been struggling with pitiful snowpack for late December are finally going to see a major boost. Now we're talking about 250 to 500 millimeters, or about 10 to 20 inches, of rain at lower elevations, and that's going to translate to several feet of snow above 7,000 feet. At first, warm temperatures mean rain will fall all the way up to around 9,000 feet. But as the system moves along, freezing levels are going to drop to about 7,000 feet. That's when heavy, wet snow will start to pile up in a hurry. As for resort conditions, well, right now the snowpack is severely below normal. After this week, though, we're looking at a significant improvement, though honestly it'll still be below ideal. One thing to keep in mind, avalanche danger will increase dramatically with all that heavy new snow. Looking over to the northeast, ski areas there have seen decent early season conditions, with natural snow getting a hand from snowmaking during the cold spells. But variable temperatures this week are going to throw a few challenges into the mix. Monday and Tuesday should bring some light snow to help things along. But from Wednesday to Friday, milder temperatures might impact snow quality. Then, that Friday-Saturday storm could really deliver a solid shot of new snow to a lot of resorts. Out in the Rockies and northern ranges, mountain areas continue to enjoy excellent early season conditions, with a well above normal snowpack in many spots. So yeah, things are shaping up pretty well there. Now let's talk about coastal concerns. The atmospheric river is going to create some dangerous conditions along the California coast. We're talking extremely high surf, with waves of 20 to 30 feet possible on exposed beaches. Coastal flooding is likely in those low-lying areas, and rip currents will be extremely dangerous. A few important warnings here. Stay away from the beaches during the peak of the storm. Sneaker waves are possible, so never, ever turn your back on the ocean. Coastal roads might be temporarily closed, and piers and jetties will be extremely dangerous. Similar concerns are going to stretch northward along the coast of Oregon and Washington, though conditions there won't be quite as extreme as in California. Over on the east coast, the northeast will see relatively calm conditions on Christmas Day. But that Friday-Saturday storm could bring coastal flooding concerns if the winds turn unfavorable. So just keep an eye out and stay safe. All right, folks, let's talk about wildfire concerns. The most critical immediate threat from the California storm is debris flows in wildfire burn areas. Recent fires, including the devastating Palisades Fire and Eaton Fire, have left hillsides vulnerable to catastrophic mudslides. Why is this so dangerous? Well, when a wildfire burns through an area, all vegetation is destroyed, removing natural barriers. The soil structure gets damaged, and a water-repellent layer forms in the soil. So rain just can't be absorbed effectively. Water races downhill, picking up debris along the way, and mudslides can move at speeds exceeding 30 miles per hour. These flows, let me tell you, have tremendous destructive power. Now, for a bit of historical context. The Montecito debris flows in January 2018 serve as a tragic reminder of just how dangerous these conditions can be. Following the Thomas Fire, heavy rain triggered debris flows that killed 23 people, destroyed 130 homes, and swept vehicles hundreds of yards downhill. The debris was so powerful that boulders weighing several tons were moved. Current conditions in the Palisades and Eaton burn areas are, honestly, pretty similar to those that preceded the Montecito disaster. Emergency managers are taking this threat very seriously, and residents in these areas must heed all evacuation orders and warnings. Now, let's zoom out a bit and look at the broader weather pattern. The current weather pattern is being influenced by weak La Niña conditions in the Pacific Ocean. La Niña typically brings more storms to the northern tier of the United States, drier conditions across the southern United States, and colder than average temperatures in the Pacific Northwest and northern states, with variable conditions in the transition zones. This winter, though, the La Niña is weak and expected to transition to neutral conditions by early spring 2026, which means its typical impacts are less pronounced and, well, less reliable. In terms of climate context, the atmospheric river events we're seeing this week are consistent with predictions that climate change will lead to more intense precipitation events, even as total annual precipitation may not change dramatically. Warmer ocean temperatures provide more moisture to atmospheric rivers, making them potentially more damaging. And those record warm temperatures in the central United States. They're also consistent with long-term warming trends, though, of course, individual weather events can't be directly attributed to climate change. All right. Here are some final safety reminders, and I really hope you'll take these to heart. For California residents, this is a life-threatening situation. Take it seriously. If ordered to evacuate, go. Don't wait until conditions deteriorate. Move to higher ground if you're in a flood-prone area. Stay informed through official channels and have multiple ways to receive warnings, phone alerts, weather radio, TV, you know the drill. Check on your neighbors, especially the elderly or those with limited mobility. Document your property with photos or video for insurance purposes before the storm, and keep important documents in waterproof containers or elevated locations. Now, for folks traveling in the northeast, monitor forecast closely for the Friday-Saturday storm, allow extra time for travel Tuesday, and keep emergency supplies in your vehicle. Avoid unnecessary travel during peak storm periods. And for everyone, be patient with travelers and service workers. This is a stressful time for everybody. Help others when you can do so safely. Follow official guidance from emergency management and stay off the roads if conditions are dangerous. So, to wrap things up, this Christmas week of 2025 will be remembered as one of the most complex and challenging weather periods in recent history. From life-threatening flooding in California to winter storms in the Northeast and record warmth in between, North America is experiencing the full spectrum of winter weather possibilities. Here at Sky Alert USA, we will continue to monitor these situations around the clock and provide you with the most up-to-date information. Please stay safe, stay informed, and look out for one another during this challenging time. Remember, no holiday gathering, no travel plan, and no deadline is worth risking your life. When officials say conditions are dangerous, believe them. Make smart choices, be patient, and we'll all get through this together.